Nolan Drake's hand was on my knee and I couldn't breathe. Not because of the touch, though that was bad enough, fingers pressing into my kneecap like he was testing how much force it would take before I flinched. It was the way he did it, while smiling, while talking about wine pairings, while the restaurant hummed around us like nothing was wrong. Candlelight on white tablecloths, soft jazz bleeding through hidden speakers, couples laughing at adjacent tables, existing inside some other safer version of Friday night. Because to everyone else in that room, nothing was wrong. Just a man and a woman having dinner, just fingers on a knee, just a smile. But I knew. The way you know a storm is coming before the sky changes. Some animal frequency humming beneath my ribs, saying, "Run, run, run." I didn't run. Not yet. "You're doing that thing again," he said, setting down his fork with exaggerated patience. "What thing?" "Looking at the door." 3 dates. I'd given this man 3 dates because he'd brought lilies and opened car doors and laughed at all the right moments. That man had started disappearing by date 2. By date 3, tonight, he was gone entirely. "I'm not looking at the door." "You are." His smile dared me to disagree. "Am I boring you, Sienna?" "No, because I went through a lot of trouble to get this reservation." His grip tightened, not gentle, not casual, a command. "I'd hate for you to be ungrateful." My mouth went dry. "I'm not ungrateful." Good. One more second of pressure, just long enough to make a point. Then he released. "That's my girl." "I'm not your girl," the words screamed inside my skull. "Excuse me, restroom." His jaw flexed. "We just ordered." "I'll be quick." I stood before he could argue, clutching my bag like a life raft. I could feel his eyes tracking me across the dining room the way you feel a scope. The ladies' room was marble and jasmine and mercifully empty. I locked myself in the farthest stall and leaned against the cold tile. Get it together. I opened my texts, found my roommate, Priya Maddox, and started typing. "Pri, I need you. I'm at La Fontana on Mulberry. This guy is bad. Can you call me with something, anything, in 5 minutes? I need an exit." I hit send. Then I heard footsteps outside the restroom door. Heavy, slow, patient. "Sienna?" Nolan's voice, muffled through the wood. "Everything okay in there?" My blood turned to ice. "Fine, just fixing my makeup." "Hurry up." I stepped into the hallway. Nolan was blocking the path back, arms crossed, the space between us shrinking to nothing. "You were gone a while." 2 minutes. Felt longer. He stepped closer, close enough that I could smell his cologne, something I now associated with dread. "I need you to understand something. When I take someone to dinner, I expect them to be here, not in the bathroom, not thinking about wherever else they'd rather be." "I'm here." "Are you?" His hand rose and I flinched, hard, involuntary, animal. His fingers froze an inch from my face. Something ugly shifted behind his eyes. "I was going to fix your eyeliner," he said softly. "It smudged." "I'll fix it later." "After you." I walked past him on legs made of water, back to the table, back to the performance. My phone buzzed. Please be Priya. I slid it out beneath the table. Unknown number. 3 words. What restaurant? My brain short-circuited. I read it again. A third time. Another text from the same number. I'm serious. Name and address. I'm close. I scrolled up and the floor dropped from under me. The SOS hadn't gone to Priya. 1 digit off. I'd sent my cry for help to a complete stranger. And that stranger wasn't asking questions. They were asking for coordinates. Who's texting you? Nolan's voice could cut glass. Nobody. Spam. Another text appeared. La Fontana on Mulberry. I see it. 2 minutes. Don't react to anything. 2 minutes. A stranger was coming. I didn't know who. I didn't know what they'd do. But I didn't text back wrong number. I picked up my fork, pretended the world wasn't tilting sideways, counted seconds. 90. The front door opened. I felt it before I saw it, a shift in gravity. Conversation stumbled. The hostess straightened involuntarily. 60. Footsteps crossed the dining room, unhurried. The footsteps of someone who had never once been told to wait. Nolan saw the approach first. His face tightened. Can I help you? No. The voice was low, faintly accented, absolutely certain. But I can help her. I turned. He was tall, dark-haired, late 30s, a black overcoat cut specifically for his shoulders, a face made of angles that didn't soften for strangers. He looked like the kind of person restaurants don't seat, they accommodate. His eyes found mine, dark, steady. Are you all right? He said. It wasn't a question. It was a door. Nolan stood, chair scraping. We're in the middle of dinner. Sit down. 2 words. He didn't raise his voice, didn't need to. The command carried weight that had nothing to do with volume. Whatever Nolan saw in the stranger's eyes made the color drain from his face. I stood, grabbed my bag. What are you doing? Nolan's voice cracked. Sienna, sit down. No. Nolan grabbed my arm. The stranger moved so fast I barely tracked it. One moment, Nolan was gripping my forearm. The next, the stranger had Nolan's wrist bent backward at an angle that made him gasp. Touch her again, the stranger said, and I'll break every bone in your hand. He said it like reading the weather. He released Nolan, who stumbled back. Then he pulled out a billfold, dropped several hundreds on the table without counting, and held out his hand to me. Open palm. My choice. I took it. We walked to the exit. The entire dining room watched. I didn't look back. But I should have. Because if I had, I would have seen Nolan's face. Not rage, not humiliation. Recognition. Like he knew exactly who had just walked into his evening. And that terrified him far more than losing me. The night air hit me like a slap. Cool, clean, sharp with rain on asphalt. The stranger was still holding my hand. I don't know your name, I said. Damien Cross. Okay, Damien. I pulled my hand free. Not from fear, from the need to think clearly, which was impossible when he was touching me. Thank you, but I can't just get in a car with you. Probably smart. So I'll call a cab. He's going to follow you. My stomach dropped. He's watching us through the window right now, Damien continued. The second I leave, he'll come outside, apologize, offer a ride, make you feel like you overreacted. And next time, there will be a next time, he'll be worse. You don't know that. I do. No performance, no posturing, just certainty so complete it didn't need decoration. I've known men like him my entire life. He pulled out his phone and showed me the screen. Black Mercedes. License plate KRX 4419. My driver's name is Jonas. Take a picture. Send it to whoever you want. He pocketed the phone. Or get in the car. I'll take you wherever you want to go. No expectations. Tomorrow you can thank me, curse me, or pretend this never happened. Every rational synapse fired warnings. Stranger, night, unknown. But those same synapses had told me to give Nolan another chance. I looked back at the restaurant. Nolan stood at the window, exactly where Damien said he'd be, watching. Okay, I said. The Mercedes was black and silent. Jonas, 50s, silver-haired, still as a weapon, nodded once. Miss? We pulled into traffic. The city streamed past tinted glass. You sent that text to me by accident, Damien said. 1 digit off. You should call your friend. She's probably panicking. I checked my phone. 11 texts from Priya, ascending from worry to nuclear. I called. She answered before the first ring finished. Where the hell have you been? I'm okay. I sent the text to the wrong number. Someone came and helped. I'm in a car, heading home. Whose car? I'll explain everything, I promise. A pause. Then Priya, quieter but more intense. If you're in danger and can't talk, say something about pineapple pizza. Despite everything, I almost laughed. No code word necessary. I'm safe. I'm tracking your phone. Non-negotiable. We pulled up to my building. Damien reached into his coat and produced a card. Matte black, white text, just a name and a number. If he contacts you again, Damien said, call me. Before the police. Why before? Because the police will file a report. I'll make sure there's nothing left to file about. The certainty in his voice should have terrified me. It didn't. I got out. Priya was already at the door, pulling it open. Inside, now! Talk! I glanced back. The Mercedes sat at the curb. Through the window, Damien's silhouette watched. I went inside. But as Priya dragged me up the stairs, one question burned hotter than all the others. Nolan hadn't looked angry when he saw Damien. He'd looked afraid. Like he recognized him. What kind of man makes another man go pale just by walking into a room? And why did that thought make me feel safe instead of terrified? Priya was on the couch with tea and fury. She listened to every detail without interrupting. When I finished, she pulled out her phone. What was his name? Damien Cross. She typed, scrolled. Her face changed. Surprise, recognition, something close to fear. Damien Cross, she said slowly, is the head of the Cross family, as in Cross Industries, Cross Maritime, one of the most connected families on the eastern seaboard. Connected how? The kind where people whisper. My cousin Rohan works in finance. He said the Cross name opens doors that don't have handles, and people who get in their way tend to quietly relocate. I pulled the black card from my pocket. You should throw that away, Priya said. I slipped it back into my pocket. At 11:47, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. You think you can just walk out on me? Call me. I blocked it. 4 minutes later, a different number. This is childish. Whatever that guy told you, he's lying. Blocked. Then a third, the one that changed everything. I know where you live, Sienna. I just want to talk. 6 words. 6 words that turned my apartment from a home into a target. The room went cold. I pulled out the black card. "Don't," Priya warned. "We should call the police." "And tell them what? A dating app guy is texting me? They'll say block him. Document everything. Wait." So we wait. While he's standing outside our building? Priya didn't have an answer for that. I typed, "This is Sienna. He's texting from multiple numbers. The last one said, 'I know where you live.'" Response in 8 seconds. "Send me screenshots, all of them." I forwarded everything. "Lock your doors. Don't respond to any of it. I'll handle this tonight." How? You don't need to know how. You need to sleep. Priya read over my shoulder. "He'll handle this tonight. What does that mean?" "It means Nolan picked the wrong woman to threaten." "No," Priya said quietly. "It means you picked the wrong stranger to text. And now you've got 2 dangerous men thinking about you tonight. One because he wants to hurt you, and one because he wants to protect you. And I'm not sure which one scares me more." I lay in the dark that night, listening to the city, turning the black card between my fingers. 2 men had entered my life in one evening. One I needed to escape from. The other, I wasn't sure I could. Morning. Damien's text at 7:14. "He won't contact you again. What did you do?" Had a conversation. He now understands his situation. Then, "I'd like to see you today. I want to tell you who I am before you hear it from someone else." The coffee shop was in a neighborhood I'd walked through but never entered. Old brick, iron gates, money quiet. Damien was already there, corner seat, back to the wall. He looked different in daylight, less shadow, more human. But his eyes were the same, watchful, measuring. "My family has been in this city for 3 generations," he said. "My grandfather started in shipping, legal mostly. My father expanded into everything else. By the time I took over, the legitimate and illegitimate were so intertwined that separating them would have collapsed everything." "You're telling me you're a criminal?" "I'm telling you the line between power and crime is thinner than most people realize, and I've spent my life walking it." "Why tell me?" "Because you'll find out anyway. From Priya, from the internet, from someone who recognizes my name and leans over to whisper." He held my gaze. "I'd rather you hear it from me." "And what do you want from me?" "Honestly, nothing." A pause that lasted 1 beat too long. "But I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since last night. And I wanted you to know that before I walk away." "Walk away?" "If that's what you want. Nolan stays gone either way. That's not conditional." I should have walked. Every survival instinct, every lesson, every cautionary tale my mother had ever told me over dinner, they all pointed to the door. "I'm tired of smart decisions," I said. "Smart decisions put me across the table from Nolan Drake." Something shifted in his eyes. Surprise or recognition. Like I'd said the one thing he hadn't prepared for. "I'm going to finish my coffee," I continued. "Then I'm going to ask you more questions. If I don't like the answers, then I'll walk. And if you do like them, then we'll both be in trouble." We stayed for 3 hours. I didn't walk. The weeks that followed were a contradiction I couldn't solve. Damien texted every morning, never before 7, never after 8. Small things, consistent. Where Nolan had demanded attention, Damien offered it, lightly, with space around every word. But space can be a strategy too. Priya made sure I knew that. He sends one text per morning, exact same window. That's calculated. Or considerate. Same thing with someone like him. On Friday, Nolan resurfaced. Not text this time, in person. Leaning against the wall outside my lecture hall like he'd been waiting for hours. Same khakis, same button-down, same smile that didn't reach his eyes. But something was different now. Something harder. Like the mask had slipped and he'd stopped bothering to put it back on. 5 minutes. I want to apologize. There's nothing to talk about. Is it because of him? The guy from the restaurant? It's because of you, Nolan. You grabbed me. You followed me. You texted me that you know where I live. Students streamed past. Nobody stopped. Nobody noticed the way his fists were clenching at his sides, the way his jaw worked like he was chewing through something bitter. I was upset. People say things. This conversation is over. I turned. He grabbed my wrist. The same place, the same pressure, like he was picking up exactly where he'd left off. We're not done. Yes. A voice behind us, low, certain. Quiet enough that only the 3 of us heard it, but heavy enough to change the air pressure. You are. Damien materialized from the crowd like he'd been stitched into it all along. Nolan's grip evaporated. You again. You can't keep step away from her. Or what? Damien tilted his head slightly, like a predator considering prey that hadn't realized it was already caught. Would you like to find out? Here? On camera? Nolan looked at the security camera, looked at Damien, bolted. My legs buckled. Damien caught me, gently, carefully, and guided me to a bench. How did you know he'd be here? I have someone watching. Watching me? Watching your safety. That's not the, I know. His voice was quiet. And the day you can't see the difference, I'll pull them out. Your call. Always. The push and the pull. That was what being near Damien felt like. One hand pulling me close, the other holding me at arm's length. Protective and invasive, honest and withholding. A man who gave me every exit while making me never want to use one. I should have been furious. I should have told him boundaries exist for a reason. Instead, I said, Priya wants to meet you. He blinked. Dinner, tomorrow, our place. Bring wine and a thick skin. Damien arrived with wine that cost more than rent and croissants from a bakery I'd never heard of. Priya opened the door, sized him up. So you're Damien Cross. And you're Priya Maddox. I've heard good things. I haven't heard much about you at all. That's part of the problem. Halfway through pasta, Priya set down her fork. Tell me why I shouldn't be terrified for my best friend. You should be. He didn't flinch. She attracted attention from a dangerous person, and now she has the attention of a different dangerous person. The question is, which one's worse for her? And do you think you're the safe option? I think I'm the option that will never put a hand on her without permission, and has the means to ensure Nolan Drake never gets close enough to try again. He set a folded document on the table. Cease and desist. Filed this morning. Emergency protective order pending. His prior domestic disturbance report from 2 years ago should expedite approval. How did you find the prior report? I have resources. That's the part that worries me. It should. He leaned forward. I'm not going to pretend I'm harmless. But Sienna asked me for help, and I showed up. I'll keep showing up for as long as she wants me to. If you hurt her, Priya said, I don't care how many bodyguards you have. I believe you. Good. Pass the salad. After he left, Priya stood at the window, watching the Mercedes pull away. I hate that I believe him. But you do. Yeah, I do. She didn't smile. But I'm keeping the tracking app on. He hadn't kissed me. 3 weeks, and he hadn't kissed me. It was driving me insane. Why are you so patient? I asked. His apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a piano in the corner, books everywhere. Patient about what? About us. You haven't even tried. He set down his glass. Do you want me to? I want to know why you haven't. Because the last man who touched you did it without permission. I'm not going to be the next one. The words landed like stones in still water. I stood, crossed the distance between us. He watched me approach the way you watch lightning. I kissed him, soft at first, tentative. Then his hand came up to cut my jaw, gentle. So gentle it almost hurt more than roughness would have, and something unlocked inside me. I kissed him harder. He matched my intensity without overwhelming it, controlled even now, every movement a question. Is this okay? Is this what you want? When we pulled apart, his eyes were dark, his breathing uneven. The first crack in his composure I'd ever seen. I'm falling for you, he said, and it terrifies me, because everyone I've ever cared about has paid a price for it. Tell me. Her name was Vera. We were together for 8 months. Someone used her to send me a message. His voice went flat, the kind of flat that hides something bottomless. She survived, but she left, and she was right to. What happened to the people who took her? They stopped being a problem. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give you. The weight of it settled between us. Not a wall, a curtain. Thin enough to see through, heavy enough to feel. Play something for me, I said. He moved to the piano. His fingers found the keys, and the apartment filled with something slow and aching. A melody composed by someone who understood loss intimately, but still believed in beauty. I closed my eyes. This was who he was. Not the overcoat and the power that moved through rooms like a tide. A man at a piano in the middle of the night, playing music that hurt. I was in so much trouble. Meeting his family was inevitable. His mother, Katerina, small, silver-haired, sharp as a scalpel hidden in silk, pulled me into a hug within seconds. You're the one who texted the wrong number. Best mistake you ever made. Come, eat. His sister Mila was harder. Early 30s, the kind of beauty that drew blood. When Damien and Katerina disappeared into the kitchen, Mila leaned forward. 3 years ago, a woman he was seeing was used against him, taken, held for 5 days. When she came back, she was broken in ways that don't heal. My stomach turned. What he didn't tell you is that he dismantled the organization responsible, personally. And the people who hurt her wished they'd never heard the cross name. Is that supposed to scare me? It's supposed to prepare you. He's my brother. I love him. But love doesn't make him safe. It makes him more dangerous. There is nothing he won't do for the people he cares about, including things you might not be able to live with. I met her eyes. I'd rather be with someone dangerous who protects me than someone safe who destroys me. Mila studied me for a long moment. Good answer. But as I sat in Damien's car on the way home, Mila's words circled like sharks. Things you might not be able to live with. I reached for Damien's hand anyway. Nolan vanished, digitally erased, lease terminated, relocated with what Damien called extreme encouragement. The silence should have been relief. Instead, it felt like the pause before an earthquake, the eerie stillness that means the worst hasn't happened yet. Then the detective called. Mr. Drake was arrested last night, violated the protective order, found outside your building at 11 p.m., trying to access the lobby. I sat down heavily on my bed. Is he going to get out? Given his pattern, bail will be high. A pause. I should also mention, someone else was there, confronted Drake before calling us. Security footage shows a man who seemed to know exactly who Drake was and why he shouldn't be there. Ring any bells? My throat tightened. No. I called Damien the second I hung up. You were there last night. Yes. What did you do? Made sure he understood that if he came back, he wouldn't walk away. And if the police hadn't come in time? Silence. 1 beat. 2. Then I would have handled it differently. You would have hurt him. If I had to. No hesitation, no performance, no apology. I should have been scared, should have been running, should have been doing anything other than sitting on my bed, feeling the terrible, complicated relief flooding through my chest. I should be angry at you, I said. You should. I'm not. I know. His voice dropped. That's what terrifies me. Silence. Then, quietly, the most honest thing he'd ever said to me. We're the same, Sienna. We'll both do whatever it takes to protect the things we love. The difference is, I've had more practice. I hung up, stared at the ceiling. The things we love. He hadn't said people I care about. He'd said things we love. Present tense, inclusive, like it was already settled. Maybe it was. I graduated top of my class. Damien sat front row with Katerina and Mila, 3 people who looked like they owned the university and were merely permitting it to continue. Afterward, he pulled me onto the sidewalk. I'm getting out. The gray area, the connections, all of it. I've been working on it for months. Why? Because you're about to become a lawyer, and I refuse to be the reason you have to lie about anything. His eyes were fierce. I want to be someone you can stand next to in daylight, not someone you have to explain away. You're doing this for me. For us. There's a difference. I kissed him, hard, in front of the restaurant, in front of strangers, in front of the life I was choosing. Then I pulled back and said, "Marry me." He went very still. The city moved around us. Horns, laughter, the endless friction of a million lives in motion. But Damien was frozen. You're proposing to me. Someone has to. You're too polite to do it yourself. Something cracked in his composure. Something warm and stunned and entirely human. The mask he wore for the whole world fell away, and underneath was just a man who couldn't believe someone had chosen him. You're serious? I'm a law student. I never say anything I don't mean. He pulled a small box from his coat pocket. My mouth fell open. You already... 3 weeks, waiting for the right moment. And the right moment was me beating you to it? Apparently. He opened the box. Simple ring, perfect stone. Nothing excessive, nothing loud. Just a promise made physical. Yes, he said. I'm the one who asked. And I'm saying yes. His voice broke on the word. Just barely. Just enough. October. Small ceremony, his mother's garden. Orange leaves and iron gates and the smell of rain threatening but not arriving. My vows. You showed up when I needed someone. You stayed when you didn't have to. You changed your world so I could exist in it safely. I don't need forever to be perfect. I just need it to be with you. Damien's vows. You texted the wrong number. I gave the right answer. Everything since has been the best mistake of my life. 2 years later, my office at a victims advocacy firm. I'd passed the bar, spent my days fighting for women who'd been through what I'd been through, and worse. My phone buzzed. Wrong number. Hey, is this Carla? Can you pick up my prescription? I smiled, typed back, wrong number. Hope Carla picks it up. Then I texted Damien. Someone just texted me by mistake. His response came in 11 seconds. What restaurant? I laughed loud enough that my paralegal looked up. Some mistakes change your life. Some wrong numbers lead you exactly where you're supposed to be. And some stories start with fear and end with a woman who chose herself first and found someone worth choosing second. The end. Thanks for listening. If this story stayed with you, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And tell me where you're listening from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. If you're still thinking about them, you're not the only one. I'll see you in the next story.